Everybody, I'm Kimberly Ann, the founder CEO of Lahontan Gold Corp. As Lindsay just pointed out, this company is near and dear to my heart. I've been in the mining space for 20 years. I've had a lot of companies, copper, gold, Peru, lots of projects in Nevada. But here we sit today with some of the best assets in the Walker Lane of Nevada that we'll go into in a moment. But just a snapshot of the company. Right now is a perfect time for anybody to come in as a shareholder. We're only a 20 million market cap company with 284 million shares outstanding. We just finally got on the Frankfurt Exchange. So we're on the Frankfurt, the OTCQB, and on the TSXV trading. Good volume, average couple million shares a day. So very good for anybody that wants liquidity in a stock. We've got some really good followers, Don Durrett, Jay Taylor, Brian Lundeen. So we've got some good people talking about our story, along with fantastic shareholders that back this company. The company was formed in 2020 with the mission of getting an asset back into production. We've been working on this quite hard for the past couple of years. We just brought in a new board. If you go through and see our register of press releases, you'll see I just brought on some really fantastic people to be on the board. Max Plus is a capital markets person, very in depth with that side of the market, so that's great. Evan and Shane are both mine builders, so we're preparing to get this our Santa Fe project back into production in a really short timeline. And then Josh, of course, brings a lot of marketing skills to the company. But let's just break down what we have. So the Santa Fe mine, for any of you that understand mining, this is an open pit, simple heap leach operation that was mined back from 1988 to 1994 by Corona Gold. Now, gold was $350. It was hard to make money, and they managed to do that. They mined about 350,000 ounces of gold, 710,000 ounces of silver before they got bought out by Homestake. So herein lies the opportunity for us. It's not that they shut down because they didn't have any more, or it was simply economics. So our goal right now is just simply to take this back into production, see how big it is, and get to a cash flowing position as soon as possible. We've put out several different reports that I'll break down to shortly, but just know that this is a very economic project that's going to continue to grow as we drill this out and prove it out. The West Santa Fe asset is also pretty special. We're really excited to have this actually. It will be a satellite operation for the future. It's only 13 kilometers away from Santa Fe proper. So great location. We look at this as a bolt-on, it's a lookalike. So, we think this is a 1 million ounce target. We have a warehouse of a couple 100,000 ounces right now internally, but we know what we can get out of here. And what we do know most importantly is even if we find a 500,000 ounces here at a gram of rock, that's fantastic because it's a great low cost bolt-on for Santa Fe proper. Moho is a high grade gold and silver vein system, and I mean 25 grams gold up to 600 silver. You can walk underground over 2,000 meters. It was mined by the lessors, so we've done extensive studies on this property. I put this into this company as an asset that I own personally, and we would like to get back out there this year. However, we have a lot to do with Santa Fe, which you'll see quite soon. So where are we? Nevada, Walker Lane, one of the top jurisdictions in the world. I am so excited to be working here currently because where we are specifically in Nevada, it's as dry as you can get. So nothing grows there. There's no Native Americans that have been living there in the past. There is a lake that's 30 kilometers away that they loved living by. So when we talk about permitting a mine here, it's one of the best jurisdictions in Nevada. You can see that big star there, which is where Santa Fe proper is. Just next to it, Hawthorne, that's the town that we work out of our warehouse, our core, our team works out of. So very nice in location. And then you can also see our projects just short distance away from each other. So we're very fortunate from that standpoint. Also, because it's dry, we can work year around here. So we don't have to, plan through, snow and, different seasons. So that's fantastic. Our current resource is just under 2 million ounces. We're bringing a drill rig out next week, so we're pretty excited to continue to expand the resource, but it's a good start. We have infrastructure here because this was a mine in production back in the day. We still have beautiful road access. We have 3 wells on our property with all the water rights, which is crucial in Nevada. That would cost millions and millions of dollars to get water rights if we didn't have them ourselves. We also have a substation on our property, which is quite unusual. That was put in back in the day. So really, really great things to think about when you're looking at investing in mining companies. I always look at, jurisdictional risk team, have they done it before? And, what's the pathway to production? Because I want to see a full business model. So this is what we're trying to give out to the public to see. So this is a breakdown of the current resource that's in the public market. 1.54 million ounces is in the indicated category, and 0.41 is in the inferred category. Average grade is 0.93 gold EQ, so very good grades. One of the highest grades actually in Nevada. And the map off to the left here, you can see the pits. So there's Santa Fe, Slab, Calvada, and York. These were the historic pits on the property that you can see lots of beautiful colors around this, that we just continue to grow the resource. So, this is really important for us because, of course, we've been drilling in and around the historic pits because we know there's lots more ore there. But there's also a lot more to bring into this as we continue to move forward. So good grade, good access, lots more to find, starts at the surface. These are all fantastic check boxes for people to think about. This is one of my favorite slides, actually. This is the Santa Fe pit. This is the largest pit on the property. It's only 90 meters deep. You can see there's no water. So we're well above the water table, which is really important when you're trying to permit a mine. You can also see how steep those walls are there. Those are 50-degree pit walls. So when we think about taking this back into production and what the CapEx is going to be, we don't have to ask an engineer to work with us to drill holes to figure out how competent this rock is, because that has been sitting there for 35 years. That is the definition of proof in the pudding. So this, and then you see all that beautiful orange rock. Well, guess what? That's all gold and silver oxide material that we're just going to make this pit a lot bigger. When you break down the open pit mines currently active in Nevada, we are one of the second highest grades on a gold equivalent basis. So next to us is, of course, Gold Bar, McEwen's mine, but cash costs are higher than what we're predicting ours to be. So lots of give and take here. So very positive information. Of course, you can see here, nothing grows here. There's no people. You can see in the background, the Santa Fe pit, a road access to it that's maintained quite well. The power line to the substation that I'm staying next to, Nevada Energy takes very good care of that. You can see the pits in the forefront, the Slab Calvada complex, as we call it. This is going to expand so dramatically, and they'll be coming together as a complex, which is why we call it the Slab Calvada complex. It's going to become one big super pit because all of this is oxide. We've drilled down to almost 400 meters, still an oxide. It truly is the low-hanging fruit of our property. So why are the pits so small? Well, they were shoveling for the next, a chunk of ore that they could get their hands on before they were getting bought out. But herein lies massive opportunity for our company. Just a breakdown real quick of our PEA, preliminary economic assessment, we put out in December. These numbers are very good, but they're going to continue to get better. And I'll tell you why in a moment here. Life of mine strip ratio is 1.6. Most of that is over at the Santa Fe pit because we need to lay back over there. We will be starting mining over there because the grades are higher. The CapEx right now is coming in at 135 million, but that's with a 20% contingency in there. So we do believe that's going to come down, but even if it stays around 100 to 110 million, it's a great, that's an easy check to find. I used to work for a $5 billion fund, a debt fund, so I know how to put those type of deals together. So that's a very encouraging number to start with. Payback is 2.9 years, but that includes the build out of a year for the project to get into production. You can see the cash costs on the right here, 1233. Those are numbers playing with the big dogs with Kinross and such. Nevada gold mines. And you can see also McEwen's cash cost. So give and take on cash costs and grade, and we're looking at having both in quite a nice place. So 8-year project life of mine right now. This is going to continue to grow as we drill some more out. This document was done at 2050 gold. So you can imagine we have lots more mineralization that we're not reporting to the public right now because we are required to do a 3-year trailing average. When we did these studies, when we started them, I should say, it was last May. So we had to use, that gold price. So you're going to see these numbers change even by not drilling a hole because we have more ore that we're, more data for you guys to see once we redo the model. 8-year project life, cash cost 1233. This is at 12,500 tons per day. We're looking at maybe expanding that to 15,000 tons per day in the new model that we'll be putting out the end of this year of this document. 50,000 ounces a year as it sits right now. 200 million NPV5. IRR is 34.2%. And of course, life of mine, 931 million gross revenue. So great numbers, but it's going to get better. And this is why. You can see this cross section of our slab pit area here. The red line, it shows you where the pit constraint model was done at 1950, and then that model was used for the PEA, which was done at 2050. So you can see all those blocks below. All those the dotted line is showing a 2200 pit shell. Well, it's now, I believe, being done at 2250. So we're going to capture all of that gold and silver that's under the pit that we're reporting to the public right now by redoing the model, of course. The drill rig, as I said, will be showing up in about a week. And once that shows up, we'll be drilling over in these areas that you can see. There's lots of targets over here to just continue to increase the ounces over here. So let's talk about permitting, because I want you guys to take away, we are taking this back into production in the shortest timeline we can get done, meaning we started this permitting almost 3 years ago. The markets were terrible. And I just turned to the geologist and said, stop the drill rig. Do we have enough to build it now? Because I believe in business models. I believe in cash flow. I believe that a company like this, if you have enough, you should be spending dollars on permitting to get to the finish line as quick as possible. Then you can go back and drill it out and see how big it is, if you have enough to do that. And the answer came back is yes, of course we have enough to do this. So here's where we sit today. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, the 12.2 square kilometers, all that you see in yellow, that is currently being permitted for a plan of operation, which allows us to drill out the whole project as much as we want. So we don't have to go back and get more permits for drilling. And the mine plan permit you see in the bottom left-hand corner, that's also in the same footprint. Why is that important? Because we have to do all these lovely studies looking for plants and raptors. We call them the bugs and bunnies studies that we have to do to make sure that the land is sterilized to move forward. Why is the shape weird? Well, that's 3 years. That was the property package, and our property package continues to grow. So we are now heading into the NEPA process with our plan of operation, which is a public period of comments. And then we anticipate having this done by the end of this year, completely permitted in our hands. The mine plan permit, because we're using the same footprint of the work we're doing on all those bugs and bunnies studies, we can use all that same information. We do not have to redo any of that. It also keeps us under a very important 640 acres, which allows us to do this through an EA versus EIS. So that allows us to cut about 9 months timeline off of this, which is super important because I do believe once we get into production, we can be doing everything through our own cash flow, and then we'll be going directly to a mine expansion, because as you can see in this picture, that rusty zone is a second heap leach pad that we will need that is off of the permitted zone, but we don't need it for 2 to 3 years. So we'll be good for that. Legislation is just going our way. Trump just continues to help us out, which I kind of joke about this because, you know, you never know when you get new administrations, but they just got another order last week talking about that the BLM has to respond within a 28-day timeline. They used to have 180 days. So yes, the office is scrambling to get things done, but it's a very positive situation to be in for a company like ourselves because we are deep in the weeds of this. We are looking at breaking ground in 2027. Now, is that in Q1, Q2? I don't know the answer to that because the legislation keeps moving right now in our favor. And I think they're all jumping through hoops trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing, but all very positive for mining. So I just want to hop over to the West Santa Fe for a moment. You can see all those roads access on this property. This was actually drilled out quite extensively, 171 drill holes on this property, which has given us good direction of where to go from here. But I want to mention to you, it's 13 kilometers away. You can see in that little map, you're literally driving across the valley on paved roads. It's a 10-minute drive back and forth. We picked this up for a very low cost option agreement, 7-year, back end loaded. It's 100% ownership. Total buyout is $1.8 million with expenditures of 1.4. So basically, we got it a year ago. We paid a whole $50,000 on 2 payments to continue to, you know, explore this asset. So these are the cheapest oxide ounces you could get. This is a map of our properties just showing, we've been doing a lot of rock chip samples and mapping and sampling all this because we're getting to know this asset right now. There's shafts all over this property for silver back in the day. So unlike Santa Fe, as you move over to this area, it's higher grade silver, which is very interesting, and very good grades of gold on the surface. We have rock chip samples of 2.61 gold, 900 silver. So we're really excited to get out here and see how much we have. We've been taking our time, not only doing all these samplings, but also doing this model. This is a side view. It's a leapfrog model showing the 171 drill holes to date. You can see very high grades in the red zones here. It starts at the surface, again, all oxide. These holes are not very deep because it was drilled back in 86, 87. So old drill holes, but still a couple 100,000 ounces of gold waiting for us to find more. And this allows us to have a direction of where to go from here. So we announced that we were going to be doing a drill program later this year. We finally have the plan together with 6,300 meters. You can just see that the guys are going crazy where they want to drill, and it's going to be really fun to get out here. But really, for the goal for this year is to drill out this first round, identify what we know, what we believe that is there, what we see in the current database, and then move from there to put out a maiden resource so the public can start to get to know this great asset, because this is part of our pipeline. As we get through into Q1 of next year, you know, we will be waiting for permits over at Santa Fe, but that doesn't mean we're going to not drill over there. We're going to drill there and drill here at the same time, so that people aren't, frankly, getting bored waiting for permits like we get bored. So we're just going to continue to add ounces over there and over here. So just some catalysts to think about. You know, the drill program is starting next week. You're going to start to see drill hole data on that in a couple months. This is a very targeted program because our studies we've been doing have been very detailed, because we are building a mine. So we need that information to be very specific for the state, you know, on the state level, for them to understand what we're trying to accomplish, how much dirt we're moving, etc. So this drilling will be not only going back and doing a fair amount more met work, metallurgical work, because what we do know is what we had happen back in the day of recoveries. In our public documents, we cannot report those numbers because we need to do that, you know, those studies ourselves to get, you know, more assurance for our third-party consultants to report what was, what will happen and what will be being to prove on. So we're looking at working with them very closely. We work with Kapuskasity and Respect in Reno. I live 45 minutes away from those people. So it's a very good relationship of being able to sit in a room and go through what do we need to do now to really accomplish the goals for the future of this project. Like I said before, we expect to have the approval of the Santa Fe expiration plan by the end of Q4 of this year, which just jumps us directly into focusing on the mine permit and every other detail that we're going to need for that. So it's a big year for us. Again, we're a 20 million market cap company. We're trading on the TSX and Frankfurt and the OTCQB. We're trading about 7 cents right now. We're getting great volume, and the pathway to production is rapid, and we're very excited. We just cashed up recently, so we're going to be using this money to put real dollars in the ground so that you guys can see measurable progress by the end of this year. I think that's it. I left you with questions, Lindsay.
Well, what a great presentation for sure. Yeah, we do have a few that have come in. One of them is, let's take a look here. All right. There we go. Can you see me now?
I can see you.
Okay. So you're operating Nevada. Walker Lane offers opportunities, but also challenges. So the question actually came in, how does Lahontan plan to navigate permitting and regulatory hurdles to bring Santa Fe into production? I believe that you may have touched on it a little bit. Let's really unpack that one a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say we are so deep in the weeds on this that it's hard. I mean, I have 7 different consultants on a daily basis, sending me one thing or another on the next steps, because things are moving so quickly at the state level that we're all getting debriefed at the same time, even though these guys are specialists. So I don't believe in having a fat team in-house that I have to pay salaries after salaries. Like, I don't have a permitting person in-house. We pay consultants because I can control spend on that, and you get the best experts out there. So we've been very fortunate. Nevada is such a pro mining place to be, especially in the Walker Lane, and the mandate from the government is very clear: get these projects back into production as quick as possible. And they just put gold on the critical metals list, which took them about time, and it took them forever. So we're seeing that it's not a matter of, it's difficult to get it through. It's a matter of all the changes that's been happening and everybody staying up on it. And for example, I don't know any other company that gets to have a bi-weekly meeting with the BLM via Zoom and getting them on the calls and saying, okay, here's your checklist, here's mine. We're meeting another 2 weeks and we expect to get it done. And they have agreed to that, and it's been happening for a couple of months, and our process has been moving quite quickly because they don't want to be, they have so many files that it's hard for them to keep up. And even on our call last week, we were having the conversation, okay, the new legislation said X, and they're like, yeah, we're still trying to figure it out too. So the challenges with permitting right now is keeping up with our administration, which is exciting. But no, we have a really good team in the BLM office right now. We actually have them out at our project today. And then we have fantastic consultants that we just talk on a WhatsApp channel daily on all this stuff to stay on top of it, because the first priority to me is get this back into production so we can be paying for everything through our own cash flow.
Absolutely. It's a moving target for sure right now. Now, your Santa Fe mine has a ton of history of actual production. So how is Lahontan leveraging that historical data to optimize current exploration and development strategies?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you go to our project, you just start kind of giggling because there's so many targets. This is why we have the plan of operation in play of 750 drills, because my team wants to drill out the entire project. I'm like, okay, guys, focus. But no, there's so many targets. Santa Fe is a really interesting, Walker Lane is a really interesting place to work because it's all about structure. So when you see these structures colliding into each other, That's where you see massive high grades. For example, we drill, I don't put this in the presentation now for people because it's a lot for people to think about, but we have very high grade sulfides underneath the Santa Fe pit. And I'm talking 4 to 10 meters of 110 grams gold with visible gold in it that we look at and go, what is going on here? And we drilled out 3 other structures with the same type of high grade material. So, and it's always when the structures are colliding into each other. So super fascinating from that standpoint. So, I mean, it almost feels obvious. I'm not a geologist, I'm a business person, you can probably tell, but I can even see it. So it's a really special place to work. And again, the guys have endless targets of how to add more ounces. Yeah, it's probably going to be life of mine for the next 30 plus years in someone else's hands at that point, obviously. But right now, I don't really care what the life of mine is. Is it economic today? Let's get it in production today. And the answer is obviously yes. So I'm really proud to have this company and these assets because there's no better time. I do think the junior space is going to explode quite soon. When, we don't know. But I mean, it just has to, and gold continues to move up. I mean, we're going to be printing money when we get it in production. So my first priority is bossing my permitting team around to get it done quicker, right?
Okay, so Kimberly Ann, are you going to have to roast the high grade then?
No. Well, the high grade sulfides, yes, probably. It does float. There's lots of questions about that. We're also talking to a team that has got this new technology, but they're working on a scalability on it, which is basically you're doing a process to, I need a geologist to really tell you the big breakdown of it, but basically you're taking one step before it hits the pads to take the sulfides and make it into an oxide material, and then you put it on the pads, and then you're just basically heap bleaching it. So, of course, the sulfides for us is down the road 5 years in production at minimum. And I talked to a lot of the barracks and the big dogs of the world, and they're more interested in the sulfides. But there's roasters nearby. Getting a roaster, you can't permit a roaster anymore. So looking at this new technology could be a massive game changer in our industry. So right now our focus again is on the oxides because we have a lot of it. But I will say, when we get to the sulfide timeline, you're going to be drifting in. So you talk about the CapEx being small. I mean, when you're usually working with sulfides and tailings and you name it, it's expensive. But if you're drifting in, you're not putting a shaft in, and that's a game changer. So the future of those sulfides get me really excited. But again, let's focus on where we are today with the easy oxides sitting there.
Absolutely. Now, one more question here. You have multiple projects in the portfolio, including West Santa Fe, Moho, and the Redlich one. How does Lahontan prioritize resource allocation to maximize that shareholder value?
Yeah, so right now we're maximizing that. Sorry, my cat wants to say hi. Santa Fe first, right? And West Santa Fe second. Now, if our stock goes to $1 and we're raising $20 million or whatever the number is, then we'll have several drill rigs out there. But what I am proud of is we do have a pipeline of projects to put news out there to get people excited, and be really just organic growth through the drill bit. We're very fortunate to work with Bort. They our costs are extremely low with them. We do mostly RC drilling. It's $100 a meter all in, and we always get the best team, and the rock is super competent. So I feel like if you're investing now, you're going to see so much shift of the paradigm of what this company will be from now a year timeline. I mean, we're going to be looking at imminent production story, plus West Santa Fe having X amount of ounces reported to the public. So there's going to be a lot to talk about, and I really want to get back out to Moho because it's so high grade and such a cool project. So lots to talk about in the future.
Lots to talk about in the future. I'm sure there'll be many more conversations to come. So For anyone out there that's watching, for your next breakout story in Nevada's gold sector, Lahontan Gold should definitely be on your radar with some serious ounces in the ground, a fast-moving leadership team like Kimberly Ann, and momentum building at the Santa Fe mine. This is a company pushing hard towards production. So they trade on the venture under LG and on the OTCQB at LGCF or XF. And what's your symbol on the Frankfurt, Kimberly Ann?
Y2F.
Y2F it is. And their full story, you can flip over to lahontangold.com for all of the information you need. Thank you, everyone. Kimberly Ann, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And I'm going to flip this up. We're gonna wrap up all the presenters. Kimberly Ann, you tailed us off just perfectly, so thank you. And I'll flip it over to Mario Host, who will close it out with all of the next steps.